This edition of Kill Team has come to an end, and we are going to do a definitive ranking of all of the teams from Kill Team Edition to Kill Team Second Edition, Kill Team 2021.
And you're going to get mad about it.
So, if the speculation is to be believed, Kill Team Season 3 and Kill Team Edition 2 are done. We're not going to get any more teams, we're not going to get any more cool settings, and hopefully we've got a third edition on the horizon. But finally, we're going to join all of the other Kill Team creators, apparently, and do a tier list. So obviously, we don't really give a shit about being competitive and winning tournaments, but we do play a lot of Kill Team, and really, this is a game, and we are inclined to try to enjoy it. And so what we're going to talk about today is the kill teams that we enjoy the most. Actually, we're going to talk about all of them. We're also going to talk about the ones we hate.
Yep.
But we're going to put them in order of how much we enjoy them, so that you might have an idea of teams you might like.
No other channel can do this, but we can be completely objective, and what we say about which kill team is the most fun is the right answer. So there's going to be a lot of people in the comments. There's going to maybe other channels. People saying, actually, you're wrong. This team is so much fun. You just are wrong.
That's true.
But they're actually the wrong ones.
Someone's got to be right all the time, and so might as well be us.
And there's nothing better to be right about than which team is the most fun to play with your little plastic men with.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay, so let's get started.
First team up, we're going to talk about Hand of the Archon, Victor. You've played this the most. What are you thinking?
So I've played this team a few times. They're definitely a fun team to play. I wish that there was a little bit more list building flexibility.
Yep.
But I think that they're a solid team to play. They're reasonably competitive, I guess. You've played against them. I don't feel like they're like really annoying to play against. I think they're like a pretty straightforward team. I think they're a good benchmark. B tier.
B tier?
Yeah.
B tier fun? Okay, that makes sense to me. Okay, let's talk about Elucidian Starstriders.
Okay. I'm interested to hear what you say here.
I played this team like a decent amount. Not a lot, but a decent amount. I think they have a few great things going for them. They have the beam, of course, is super fun to just like space laser people.
Yep.
Very, very fun. They have a lot of cool synergies and like aura abilities that are really rewarding and satisfying when you actually pull them off properly.
Right.
They have some cool combos. I don't think they're an easy team to play well. I certainly don't think I'm like a great Star Strider player or anything. I don't think I'm a great anything player, actually. But I think between like the flavor, the cool mechanics of like the space laser is fun. Just like the dog, having the dog on your team is fun. They have a lot of cool ploys. I'm going to put this in S tier.
S tier.
I think this is an S tier fun team.
Okay.
What, are you a hater?
Yeah. So
okay, tell me why I'm wrong then. I think this team is so much fun, dude.
I guess I value list building, and there's zero list building in this team, right?
I think that's great. Okay, we can revisit this if S tier gets bloated.
Sure.
But I think this is one of my most favorite teams to play.
All right. Let's do Pathfinders next.
Okay.
So I think the Pathfinders are a very interesting team. I love the flexibility, and one thing I do really like about them is that they've got like a thing and they really lean into it. I think that's fun. Obviously, they've been overtuned at times, and they've got some matchups that are just like they're just no fun. But it's an interesting team, and by making them terrible on one of the three settings of the edition, I think there's been like kind of some balance baked in there, but they've never really felt like they've fit in the meta. They've always been too good or too bad, really, in my opinion. And they're extremely frustrating to play against.
Yeah.
And because of that, it's like I'm not having a good time if I'm trying to use all my cool toys and everything that they do, and it's like making the guy across from me unhappy. It's like that's no fun for me.
Also, is an Alpha Strike really that fun?
Well, but there's so much more than an Alpha Strike on that team. Like, yeah, the Alpha Strike is ridiculous and powerful and everyone does it, but like, you don't, like, they're a great team without the Alpha Strike. They're a very powerful team.
If you're playing this team and the first thing you do is an unavoidable Alpha Strike on your opponent on some maps, and then they're tilted before they even make an activation, then nothing else matters.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
So if it was just like what team is cool and good, I'd rank them higher. But for me, even though I do kind of like them, I'm going to put Pathfinders in C tier.
I think that's appropriate. All right, me next?
Yeah, let's do you.
Let's go with Commandos.
Ah, interesting.
So Commandos are interesting because they, for a long time, they've had a very high power level. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're fun.
No.
But what fun things do they have going for them? I think the squig, in theory, the bomb squig can be fun.
Yep.
Except it's actually pretty hard to pull off, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
And it can backfire and kill your own guys, which can be actually fun.
I love that.
It can be funny.
Yeah.
It can be fun. The grot is super fun. I think games on our channel have shown that grot can be hilarious.
Yep.
Just a scratch is not that fun.
No, Just a Scratch is extraordinarily unfun.
So it does have some negatives there. I think after the recent nerfs, I think one big hit to the funness of this team, which is also a hit to their power level, but it's not making it less fun because they're less powerful, is the nerf to the Choppa equipment. Because before, it was like, okay, you could have every guy's a melee guy, and then you just get Crumpin.
Yeah.
And Crumpin is fun. But now, like, you're less incentivized to just get Crumpin. And, like, yeah, that makes you worse, but it's not the fact that you're worse.
Yeah.
It's the fact that, oh, I don't really want to Crump here because it's, you know, it's a bad choice.
Right.
Which you can still do it, but, like, when you're going to Crump, you want to Crump. So I think that hurts them a lot. What else do they have that's fun? Climbing ropes are fun. Getting around the map is fun.
Yeah.
Having 10 wounds is pretty fun.
They're a pretty thematic team, too, and I think that adds to the enjoyment.
I think overall, they're a pretty fun team, but they're not S tier.
No.
And I don't even think... Are they A tier or B tier? I think they're somewhere between A tier and B tier.
You know, if it weren't for Just a Scratch, I'd say A tier. But I think that is such a, like, feels bad thing to happen to an opponent that it leaves a bit of a sour taste.
Yeah, and you know what? I actually think the nerf to Just a Scratch makes it less fun.
Yeah.
Even though it's less powerful, it's just, like, more pedantic.
And, like, more words and, like, more math.
Get out of here. Yeah. So let's put it in B tier.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. Are we ranking within the tiers?
No.
No. So B tier, it's not in any particular order.
They're all the exact same number of fun units.
All right, you're up.
Okay, next, let's do the Inquisitorial Agents. So, I love this team, which is a bit weird because I've only had them on the channel once, but...
you took them to a tournament, right?
Yeah, I've played them a lot. I've taken them to a tournament and got absolutely destroyed by Pathfinders and Vetguard.
What if these people watch this?
Well, they know that they destroyed me.
Okay,
it's not a mystery.
Fair enough.
But yeah, they're a very fun team, and they have so much flexibility, like just kind of endless different ways to play this team. I really, really like that about it.
One other thing, I'll just jump in, is that I have not built or painted any of the guys on this team, but they look very kit bashable.
Extremely.
Like a lot of like flexibility, and like you don't have to use the sanctioned models.
Yeah, like I guess technically it would require 2 boxes to get all the options, but I've only got 1 box and have ended up with all the options. You just have to be a little bit creative and smash some green stuff together. Yeah, so I think from a modeling perspective, they're a great team, but I love like the different, what are they called?
Auxiliary support.
Yeah, something, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like the other guys you can bring, they just change the team so much. Like you'd never run out of different ways to approach this team. Honestly, if they were more readily available, that would make it an S++. But I think I've got to put this team in S.
Okay, fair enough.
They are like definitely in my top few favorite teams from the edition.
For what it's worth, the few times I've played against them, I did not enjoy playing against them.
Really?
That's fine.
Yeah.
That, you know. That might have been a me thing.
Right.
More, and not a team
I think
thing.
that might have been an Into the Dark guard. I think you had more of a problem with the guard action in that game.
And you cheating.
Did I cheat?
Yeah, remember?
How bad?
We flashed it on the screen when it happened.
Oh, yeah, I moved full movement with a heavy weapon.
Yeah.
Oh, sue me.
Yeah, I will see.
Yeah.
Get in the comments.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go with... Okay, I have an interesting one. I think you're
Okay.
going to be surprised by this.
Great.
Warp Coven.
Tell you what I think of Warp Coven. Garbage.
Shadow Realm.
There is no team that I enjoy playing against less.
They're going in Shadow Realm for me, too.
Really?
I thought you'd be surprised.
I am. You love this team.
You know what? I want to love this
Yeah.
team. And on paper, you'd think they're so fun. You know, you're slinging spells around. They have, you know, sick models.
Lots of
You
flexibility.
know, you can be goats, you can be space marines, but
Yeah.
you know, maybe if I was a better player and maybe if I knew how to play this team properly, I would find them to be more fun.
Right.
But for me, I just find them frustrating because every time I try and use something cool on the team, it just never seems to work. You know, like, oh, I'll use one of their cool spells. I'll slow all your guys. Oh, well, I'm playing against mandrakes, and it doesn't actually matter because you can do free dash or you have an extra inch or something.
Yeah.
Oh, this awesome Soul Reaper cannon, well, it's super awkward to use because of its heavy, and you can't really shoot twice unless you use the teleport or you already have a
Yeah.
shot before you start. It's very awkward to use. Keeping track of all the ranges of everything, pretty annoying. There's just like so much bookkeeping up front, which is like a real negative for me.
Yep.
I like a toolbox team, but there's a difference between just picking what models you want to bring and
Yeah.
maybe their weapons versus like, oh, you got to have the Boon of Tzeentch and you got to have the weapon option and you got to have the psychic school
Totally.
and you got to have the equipment, and it's just like too much friggin' stuff, dude. Like, I hope in the next edition, if this team sticks around, they really do a top to bottom rework.
Yeah.
Because they have so much potential. Like, flavor wise, the Thousand Suns are so cool,
Yeah.
and this team should be S tier fun.
Yeah.
But I just hate playing them, and
Yeah.
I've never won with them, so I'm sure that doesn't help. But I gotta put them in D tier. I'm sorry, Warp Coven.
One thing I absolutely hate when playing against Warp Coven is that it's kind of impossible to tell what everyone does by looking at the model. And that's something that drives me crazy in kill teams.
That's
like,
fair.
I need the guy with 2 swords to be the melee guy. I need the guy, you know, and as someone who like doesn't play Warp Coven, it's always like, all right, whatever. You've got the sorcerers and they're going to do stuff that surprises me. You've got the Zangors and I'll just try to not get charged by them. But it feels like my ability to like play a smart game against them is pretty limited too.
Yeah.
Let's do one that we've both got some experience playing. Let's talk about the Phobos.
Okay. Phobos Strike Team, they are fun.
Yeah.
I think they're in the top. They're at least B for me.
Yeah.
They have a lot going for them. I like that they're the good type of toolbox team.
Totally.
In my opinion. A downside is it's hard to have a true full roster.
Yep.
It's a lot of purchases and a lot of painting to have like truly complete roster with them.
Yeah.
But that's a very slight downside. You know, Space Marines look cool. They're pretty
Yeah.
tanky. They have some cool tricks. I mean, like the sniper
Track
fake
target.
guard is
Yeah.
pretty fun. Reavers just get to go in there and scare you and then stab you.
See, for me, I'll like getting back to the point about how hard it is to get a full roster. I don't mind a 2-box team, but I hate a 2 of the same box team. At least with this, it's like you're building Reavers or whatever, and it's
Yeah.
like there's kind of different stuff, but I hate the thought of buying the same product off the shelf twice to get one team. Drives me crazy. And that's like kind of a stupid, subtle nuance that doesn't actually matter
I
in
get
the like
it.
dollars and cents of it, but it just feels worse.
I get that.
For me, I would put Phobos in S tier because I think that they're a great team that really embodies the spirit of kill team, kind of the ultimate like specialist team. But they've got too many terrible matchups. Like, it's really tough to play them into Elite still, I find. You know, they don't deal well.
I think Nemesis
With-
Claw like poops on them so hard.
Totally.
I
yeah.
think Salvagers poops on them so hard.
Yeah,
You know,
totally. Blades of Kane, I think, would poop on them.
probably Kazurkin would have a nice time into them.
Yeah. So
They don't really have any protection against AP, do they?
they don't have protection against AP, and they don't have a lot of access to AP. So they're,
Yeah.
they can struggle. And for that, I'd like to put them in A, but only because of some bad matchups.
Yeah, I would be tempted to put them in high B, but if you're feeling A, I can be swayed to A.
Let's do A.
Okay.
They're our first A tier.
Hey!
Okay, what's next?
Let's do Hyrotech.
Okay.
Hyrotech Circle.
Another team that you want to love.
I'll preface this by saying I have not played them since the most recent nerfs. So I know that they got changed quite a bit by those nerfs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going off my previous experience with them. But I think there are some very cool things about them. Resurrecting is fun, but it's unfun when you fail your resurrection rolls. I know they buffed it to on a 2-up now instead of a 3-up.
Right.
So that changes some things. But I think they also nerfed... They come back with less health now.
One less, I think, yeah.
So they're going to... I think it's like very rare that they won't be injured. So there's a good chance that you're just going to get killed again. They're slow unless you play a ploy and you're on engage. They do have some flying. The cryptic actions are fun. I do like this team, but they're just like a bit complicated for my small brain. Another thing about this team is that I feel like they're just a bit clunkier than you want them to be.
Yeah.
Like it always feels like this is just like a bit more annoying than it should be.
Yeah.
I'm surprising myself here because I thought I would put them higher, but I actually think I'm going to put them at the top of C.
Yeah.
And
I think that's
for a
fair.
while I said they were like one of my favorite teams.
Yeah.
But I think I just keep coming back to they're a bit clunkier than they want to be.
Yeah.
They're just a bit awkward to play. And I'm going to put them in C. I could put them in bottom of B. And this is really surprising to me. If you asked me, last time I played them, I probably would have said they were much higher. But I just feel like they're just a bit awkward. So C tier. High C tier.
Okay. Let's do Corsairs next.
Okay.
Clearly the easiest S tier of this whole thing.
I know this is your favorite team, right?
This is my favorite team. This is the best team. But, like, seriously, obviously, I'm biased because I really love this team. But I think they're so much fun. The free dash, obviously, like, pseudo 3 APL on this many guys is so much fun to play with. It's like a very free team. And what I like most about them is some of the other teams that I've played, a lot of the other teams I've played, I feel like if you don't start the game with a pretty good idea of what you want to do, you're punished for it. Whereas I feel like because of all the Corsairs movement that they have and because of all the different specialisms, you can kind of improvise your way through a game, and that is like very much my favorite way to play.
They don't punish mistakes too hard.
It's not that they don't punish mistakes, but it's just that, like, I mean, like, if you lose certain units, like, you're totally boned. But, like, I feel like they're a very adaptable team. Like, they're a flexible team where you can change your game plan throughout.
Yeah. And
they really sort of support that. And for that alone, I think they'd be an S because they're just like an enjoyable team to play. But I think they look great. They really kind of signaled a turning point, no pun intended, in like kill team design, I think.
Yeah,
like,
I would agree.
They just great team, came in a great box. What's not to like?
Yeah. All right, that makes sense.
Next.
Let's move on to let's do Novitiates next.
Okay.
I like Novitiates a lot. I know we've talked before about how dice fixing can be frustrating for your opponent, but I do think as a player, like, yeah, you don't want to see your opponent suffer, but also there is something very nice about, like, I don't have to worry so much about just getting diced.
Totally.
And I like the flavor of this team. I think they have some cool models. They kind of feel a bit outdated.
Yeah.
At this point.
I know what you mean.
I really like them. I think I haven't played them in a while, but I should break them out again.
Yeah.
I'm going to put them in A for me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm going to put them in A.
Who did they come in a box with?
They came alongside the Legionaries, I think.
No.
Or was it the Corsairs?
Corsairs and Legionaries was a box.
Oh, Pathfinders. It was
Pathfinders, right.
Yeah.
What an annoying box.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do Hunter Clade.
Okay.
So, I really want to love Hunter Clade. It's got all the hallmarks of teams that I like, which is tons of flexibility. Like, I think that there are like well over 50 different rosters that you could build with this team, which is crazy. But it... Okay, so I'm going to talk about the things I like about this team first.
Okay.
Tons of flexibility.
Yep.
A great balance of huge melee punch and obviously some great shooting. I think they've got a powerful leader. One thing that always frustrates me in a kill team is when the leader is like not that much better than a normal guy. I think it's fun to protect your leader, and it's fun to like do big plays that have to jeopardize your most powerful guy. I dig that in a team, and they really have that in spades. I think the aesthetic is great. So it's frustrating to have to buy a bunch of boxes if you want to play them in their full way, but at least you're getting a bunch of different units. And if you build a full Hunter Clade roster, you're like kind of on your way to an AdMech army. I think it works as a gateway that way. Some things I don't like about the team is that there is a lot of bookkeeping, like a lot of bookkeeping, where like managing the imperatives, the tack op about tracking wounds, just to name a few things.
Any tack op where you have to track things during a turning point should be deleted from the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Skitarii are too easy to kill, and I think the Sicarians are too hard to kill. I would like to see a little bit more parity in between the two units, and it's a very hard team to like cohesively play, kind of like Star Striders. Like, it's a hard team to feel like you're using all of the tools at your disposal, and it's just like it's so many models on the board. It's hard to keep track of. It's hard to remember, like, is my surveyor a ranger or a vanguard? Like those sorts of like kind of little pedantic things. A lot of words to read. I think that they could have been a way more fun team. I loved the introduction of white dwarf teams, which I think were they the first one?
One of the first.
Yeah, one early anyway. And I really like this team. I've got a bunch of experience with them, but I think there's a few things holding them back. I think they're a solid kill team. I'm going to put them in B.
Fair. Just what I expected.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Intercession now.
Okay.
I'm gonna put them in B.
It's an easy S for me.
Easy. Interesting.
Yeah.
What makes you say S?
Okay. So I think that they're an extremely accessible kill team. Anyone who's been playing Warhammer in any capacity for like more than a year or two probably has 6 intercessors. Like, somehow you just end up with them.
Sorry, I'm just so distracted. I just noticed we're on this tier list website, and we have an ad for one of the Jonas Brothers selling diabetes medication.
Really?
Sorry.
Sponsored. Yeah. So I think they're a pretty accessible team, and I think they're a quick team to get painted up. When they came out, I think no one really knew how to play against them, and they were too powerful, but we've all kind of figured it out. They're not as much of a boogeyman anymore. And I think they're straightforward in a good way and feel like an easy way to play kill team.
Yeah, I don't think they're a bad team. I don't think they're they're an important team for the game to have. Mm-hmm. But I don't necessarily think being accessible makes them fun. To me, yeah. I think like they have like a couple tricks and that's it. As soon as you figure out like keep your guys on engage so that you can shoot when you die.
Right. And
like they have a few things that they can do.
You know what Intercession feels like? It feels like playing checkers. And that's fun every now and again. It's like you've got pieces that all kind of do more or less the same thing, and it's up to how you want to deploy them as opposed to being forced to play certain things a certain way. I think they're a pretty flexible team, and they kind of play well into everyone.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, okay, there are teams that are like specifically designed to kill elites, but I mean, like, yeah, sure, the teams that are specifically designed to wipe Intercession off the board, but it's not like they have like a lot of bad matchups.
All right, well, if you're saying S and I'm saying B, can we meet in the middle and say they're A? Is that fair?
I'll accept that.
All right. All right. After that, let's do some new teams. Let's look at Nemesis Claw.
Okay.
I feel like Nemesis Claw is fun, but they have a few things holding them back. So first of all, I think that in Midnight Clad is not a fun rule.
No, it's not.
It's annoying, but it's not fun.
Anything that requires 3 separate things to be true, to be active, not for me.
And I feel like it's not that useful that often.
Right.
And, they just want to merc, and I guess it helps them get up the board. but also like if you move up the board on a lot of maps, you're just gonna be like, okay, now they can just move within 6 inches and turn it off. I feel like it's a trap more than it's actually good.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. There's just something about them that's keeping me back from S.
I'll tell you one thing I don't like about them. And, like, obviously you can paint your models however you want.
Yeah.
But I don't like that there really is kind of a specific paint scheme that's like...
Which I didn't do, but...
Yeah, but, like, and that's cool. I like that. But, like, I don't know that there's many other teams that have such a specific way that they're asking to be painted.
I do enjoy the team. Every time I've lost... I mean, I've never won on camera with them.
Right.
But every time I've lost with them on the channel, it's been a close game.
Yeah.
I think they're a good team.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot, like just killing guys is good. Their tack-offs kind of suck, in my opinion, which holds them back. I don't know. I guess you just like taking run-of-the-mill, seek and destroy most of the time, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it's not like, there's nothing fun. I mean, eliminate guards is cool, but...
Yeah, like,
I don't know.
Yeah. I know what you mean. They're like, yeah.
I think they're... I would put them at high B or low A. But why don't we say they're low A?
Sure.
I think. I might feel different about them if I had won those games. So let's just say they're low A for now.
Okay.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Okay, let's do Vet Guard next.
Okay.
Too many guys.
Yeah.
Needs too many boxes.
Yeah.
Too many tricks.
Yeah.
Too much text. D tier. Next.
Okay, easy agree. Easy agree from me. All right, let's look at Exaction Squad.
Okay.
Too many guys. No. My main problem with this team is that like you want to arrest people, but it doesn't work against half the teams.
Yeah.
I know they've got buffed a lot, but it's like it's kind of similar to Hyrotech. It's like they're a bit too clunky. It doesn't just feel like it works. Like their whole mechanic of shooting guys and engage. Well, first you got to get them in engage, and then like what does that really do? And I guess if you're getting charged, then it's good. But I feel like a lot of situations they just like aren't good, and their gunners are terrible. And yeah, the gunners got buffed a bit, but still, it's like in a weird way that's not really that fun. And the models are kind of boring to me.
I've played Exaction Squad 4 times, and I have never been arrested by one, I'm realizing.
Yeah. Like, they're just awkward.
Yeah.
It's just awkward to me. There's probably some big brain way to play them that makes them better, but I kind of think, like,
That's no fun.
I don't need to say more.
Yeah.
They're D tier.
Yeah, D for defund.
How about we look at the Void Dancer troop?
Okay. This is an interesting one because I've kind of fallen in and out and back in love with this team. When I first started playing Void Dancers, I really, really liked them for the same reason that I like Corsairs. The movement is so much fun. It feels like it's such a freeing experience, especially with Fly. Like it just felt like you could
I don't
put
have
them.
Fly anymore.
Yeah, well, I know, but it felt like you could just put them anywhere you wanted, and like really kind of play the game from a
cheater's perspective. Yeah.
No, but from like a strategic perspective more so than a tactical perspective, where it's like you could pick spots on the map where you really wanted to make sure you had a presence. And that was kind of fun, and it's very niche, and they were very good at that. And obviously, I think melee teams are, in general, more fun. I don't know why. I just like kind of lean into that. I think that's kind of a fun way to play the game. An amazing gun with 3-inch range. I think that's a fun thing. Like, you gotta want it. But playing them once on Beta Decima pre-nerf, it's just stupid. Like, they were just too good. I think, similar to some of the other teams we've talked about, some of their matchups are just way too good, and some of their matchups are really, really tough. Like, it kind of feels like Novitiates were invented to kill Void Dancers because of, like, the way the meta was going at that point.
Those flamers are pretty good into them.
Yeah, they really are. And so, I don't know, like, it's also, they're an extremely expensive team, which I know I talked earlier about, like, I don't mind buying extra stuff if I'm buying different stuff, but, like, you got to buy a lot of stuff for this team.
Yeah.
And you got to buy a couple, like, 1-unit character boxes. Like, they're well over 100 Canadian Tire money bucks. Anyway, oh man, they don't do Canadian Tire money anymore.
Really?
That's bullshit. Anyway, Void Dancers, If you asked me a year ago, it'd be an easy S, but I'm going to put them in B now.
Okay. Sticking with White Dwarf teams,
Okay.
let's go to the Wormblade.
Yeah.
So I've only played these guys on TTS, but I have played them. I think they have a lot going for them in terms of fun, especially since the buffs.
Yep.
So they have like the coolness of a horde team.
Yeah.
With the benefit of like having a few really strong
Like
units.
ridiculously
like
strong.
That Kellermorph
the
is cracked.
Kellermorph, for my money, is the best model in Kill Team.
Really good.
Yeah.
They have some really fun mechanics. You know, fun ploys where you're like jumping out at people and getting a bunch of bonuses to like rerolls and stuff.
Extremely thematic.
Yeah, very thematic. Some loadout flexibility, not a ton, but like some loadout flexibility. They have some really cool thematic tac ops, like the one where it incentivizes you to deal a lot of damage on the first turn is interesting. I know I said I don't like alpha strikes, but this
you
team
don't
is
like receiving alpha
that's
strikes.
like their whole shtick. I think this team is really fun.
Yeah.
I think this team is really fun. You know, it has the right amount of plebs to just like sacrifice dudes to get points.
Yeah.
And then when your opponent counterplays you, you just like come in and murk some guys. I think this is an A tier fun team for me.
Yeah, I buy it. I think they, the couple times I played against them, they're fun and they look great and their rules kind of make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's stick with Gene Stealer Cult. Let's do the Brood Brothers.
Okay. New team.
Yeah, new team and
Udis.
Love this team. I think they're a great team. The models are awesome. There's a lot of flexibility, obviously. A lot of different ways you can play them. A lot of different ways you can approach a game with them. I think the Patriarch is so much fun to play with. Like, having like a big model and kill team, love it. I think that's a great thing to introduce at the end of an edition, too. Like, oh yeah, have a Patriarch.
Yeah.
I can see them being a bit of a frustrating team to play against if your opponent isn't used to going against 38 wound.
Honestly, I bet he's not even the most frustrating guy to play against.
Yeah.
I bet a really good player with the Primus will just
the Primus is great.
Wreck you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think honestly, I don't think they're quite S tier, but they're pretty close. I think S tier ought to be saved for the absolute
winners,
best, but they're an easy A tier for me.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
I can't wait to play them more into the summer.
Well, let's do the other half of that box. Let's do the Jagers now.
Okay.
I think this team is pretty fun. They're very killy.
Mm-hmm.
They're slow, though, but they have ways to work around that. They don't have a ton of, like, completely blow-you-up guns.
No.
But they have ways to, like, chip you down.
Yep.
And I think the mines could be frustrating for your opponent, but it's kind of fun to, like, set them up and do the bluffing thing. They have great tac ops. They really incentivize you to just, like, go all in on, like, okay, come at me, and then when you come at me, just, like, blow them up. You know, like, you get your 3 objectives that you're like, okay, I'm holing up here, and then if you try and take them, I'm killing you and I'm scoring 1 million secondary points. To me, they just lack a little bit of flavor and oomph.
Yep.
They're just, like, a bit bland. I think they are very fun, but they're not S tier.
See, for me, what I find frustrating about the mines specifically is that, like, no matter what you do with them, it like slows the game down. It slows the advance down. And, like, I think that there's a competitively viable reason to do that. But in terms of, like, what I think is fun about Kill Team, it, like, delays that and makes it harder to get into the fun part of Kill Team for me. But other than that, I think they're, a reasonably cool team.
Yeah, I'm going to put them in A.
Put them in A.
Put them in A.
All right.
Low A.
What's next?
Do you want to look at Gellerpox?
Sure. Gellerpox are another one of those teams that I've kind of flip-flopped on over the course of the edition since they've been out. They've got a lot of fun elements about them. The biggest guys in the game and the littlest guys in the game on the same team. And, like, what's not to like about that? Equipment being an on-the-field unit, I think, is, like, a great mechanic. I wish we had seen more of that, and I hope we continue to see more of that. I really appreciate that. But But the fact remains that most people find them oppressive to play against. And I feel like if you show up at, kill team night and you put Gellerpox down on the table, a lot of times the person you're playing with is having a bad time before you even put a model down. And it's like, that's just kind of a drag, and not to hold it against your opponent. I think people have some scar tissue playing against this team, and it's understandable. I think that they've got a lot of good and some bad, and I think it kind of balances out to be a pretty solid B for me.
Why don't you pick for me?
Okay. What do we have left that's a Brad team? Scouts.
Scouts? I love Scouts, and I've never won with the Scouts.
Yep.
But this is one of those...
That's how you know it's real love.
This is one of those few teams where I don't care that I'm losing. I love the team.
Yeah.
I think the models are so cool. I think I always misplay the scouting stuff.
Yeah.
But I still think it's so fun to think about. And on the topic we were talking before about what decisions you get to make pregame and what you get to think about, I think this is super cool.
Yep.
They obviously got buffed. I haven't played them since they've got buffed. I don't care that they have a lot of heavy, because when you get that double shot off with the heavy bolter, it feels so good.
Yeah, for sure.
I think they're awesome. I don't think they're quite S, but they're A++.
Yeah, that's how I feel about whatever that team is that I just beat them with, the Patriarch team.
Yeah.
It's I just can't quite put it in S.
Yeah.
Let's do Kasserkin next.
Okay. We both played this team.
A team so boring that I can't even muster the energy to give it a rating, so B. This team does nothing for me.
Me either.
Yeah.
The best thing about them is their comms guy. Is sick.
Okay, but when the best thing about your team is a comms guy...
Yeah, elite points feel... It's funny, because you have elite points and you have the faith points from the novitiates, and the novitiates' faith points feel so much more fun.
Yeah.
The elite points just feel like...
You feel like you're obligated to use them.
And it feels like you have to do too much math
to
figure out what's optimal, whereas novitiates, you can just be like, I'll reroll. I don't care.
Yeah. Totally.
B tier. That's fine with me.
Snooze.
Yeah. All right. How about we go to Chaos Cult?
Okay. We've both got some experience with Chaos Cult.
Yeah. I only played them close to when they came out.
Yeah.
When they were super cracked and OP. They were ridiculously fun then.
Oh,
but
really?
I think that was for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, totally.
What do you think?
I've played a few recent games with them, and they're still similar to having the Patriarch. Once you get the Torments, it's fun to have just a stupidly powerful thing that you've invested your whole game into getting in the right spot, and just letting it run amok. But
I think so pros, upgrading your guys is super fun.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe the second most fun team mechanic.
Yep.
One con they have is keeping track of what mutations you've assigned to which guys is just annoying. I think thematically this team is 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Just crazy cultists running up and turning into monsters and killing people.
And
I think any team that incentivizes you to just mindlessly murk people is great. I don't know if that's the optimal way to play this team.
Yeah.
But you definitely can, and it's fun.
Yeah, and I mean from a model design perspective, I really really love that you in each of the torments and mutants you can see the cultist that they started as. I think that's really fun. One thing that really is a drawback about this team for me is that it feels like if you don't start the game with a full plan of when you want to use your mutations,
very true,
where you want your guys to be, you really get punished for it. And it's not necessarily a good or a bad thing, but it's just not the way I like to play. So it definitely sucks some of the fun out of the game with them. It doesn't feel like they're a team that really rewards freewheeling play as much. So for me, I think now that they've been nerfed and buffed and nerfed, and I think they're in a good spot competitively and an okay spot funnily, and I'll put them in B.
I would have put them in A. Rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I was gonna do.
Are we going on rock paper, scissors? You go and shoot.
I gotta do rock paper scissors reveal.
That's the wrong way. Okay, but I'll
okay. We'll do
accommodate
yours.
you.
Yeah, right.
Oh, we're doing yours.
We're doing
Okay.
on 4.
Yeah.
B
okay,
tier.
they're going to B tier. That's fine.
Definitive.
That's fine.
Objective.
All right.
Let's do the other Votann team
The other Votann team, you already know where this is going.
in the garbage.
This is S tier.
Oh, God.
This is my favorite team.
Yeah.
I think. So speaking of mutating your cultists being the second most fun team mechanic, I think grudge tokens are so fun, dude.
Really?
I freaking love this team so much. I think stacking up grudge tokens and just like absolutely obliterating someone is so fun. I think this is the best kind of toolbox team because like everyone's a different mini, so you don't have to remember. You just look at what's on the board. I think they have tools for so many different situations. Like, yeah, they have crazy gunners with loads of AP and damage, but you're going into Void Dancers who have invuln saves. Well, they have gunners for that too.
Yeah.
You know, they have teams. They have operatives that shut down crazy alpha strikes. They have operatives that give you some obscuring denial. I also think their playstyle is awesome. They have one great tac op, Settle Grudges, that lets you be incentivized for getting kills, but you can take that tac op along with security and then still play like a mostly defensive game. And usually I say I just want to murk guys, but I find that this team makes playing a security game fun.
Really?
Like I really enjoy the having a team that doesn't have seek and destroy, but having a faction tac op that is a seek and destroy tac op really. I think it's a great balance because it feels so thematic to be like holding down your extraction point, but you're still like incentivized to like as the guys are coming towards you, you just like shoot them down.
Yeah.
I think it's really satisfying when you get off their crazy combos. The minis are 10 out of 10 for me. Yeah, the easiest S for me. This is my favorite team right now.
Yeah, fair enough. We should definitely do a Corsairs versus Salvagers favorite team showdown to do the end of second edition.
And elves versus dwarves.
Another
classic.
elves versus dwarves.
All right, what about Justian?
Okay. I like Justian. I think that the way that they released it was extraordinarily annoying. It took them so long to even give them tac ops.
Frustrating.
So very, very frustrating. The blind box thing is stupid, but they're an extremely kit bashable team. I have 3 different kit bash Justian teams. Like they're not a hard team to make. I think they're a really fun team. I think, they've got a good mix of like some really dynamite powerful operatives and some that are just kind of standard, obviously Space Marines. I don't know. I think they're fun. I don't think that they're S tier because I think they're like a little bit limited. I find that games with them can be a bit samey. Like maybe that's just a shortcoming of my own small brain, but I feel like I kind of play them the same way every time. Beginning of Turning Point 2, Justian is getting 2 kills in his first activation,
Yeah.
So yeah, I think for that, like I think they're a pretty solid B. Space Marines are Space Marines. They're fun to paint and there's a lot of support for them. And, they play like Space Marines.
What about Kroot? We both played a bit of Kroot.
Yeah,
Farstalker Kinband. I think they're weak, but that doesn't mean they're not fun.
They're very weak. But so one thing I've been hearing a lot about in the motorcycle community lately is that it's more fun to ride a slow bike fast than it is to ride a fast bike slow. And I mean, that's kind of what the Kroot feels like.
Yeah.
I mean, like trying to extract everything you can out of like, what is a bad team? I think is fun, like it forces you to be creative. They are super thematic. They've got a couple dogs that are always fun to play with. They've got tricks,
So here's something interesting. I think their minis are exceptional.
Yeah.
The models are exceptional. But I think if this team was flavored as humans, like pleb humans with the same rules, everyone would say Shadow Realm.
Totally.
I think the models and like the flavor
do a lot.
Carry this team. I would say
I agree.
I would say low B or top of C for me, unfortunately.
I think I was gonna say B, so I think we'll average it out to C.
C.
Like I was thinking kind of low B as well. Like, and that's a really good point. If they were humans with the exact same rules, they'd be Shadow Realm. I would totally hate them. Yeah, but they are just fun as lizard chickens,
Yeah. Fel Gore, speaking of mutant humans.
Yeah, I think Fel Gore are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know, I guess earlier I talked about how I didn't like teams that didn't offer a lot of flexibility, and when it felt like, you know, certain units had to do certain things, but I kind of like that about Fel Gore. Like, what Fel Gore lacks in subtlety, it makes up for in a lack of subtlety.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know, I'm just running at you with goats.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Try and kill me.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think they're a really fun team.
Yeah.
Like, so one struggle is that obviously Games Workshop has had a really hard time balancing this team. Like, they've been so up and down. Every time a data slate comes out, it's like a totally different team, and that's a little bit annoying because there's just like so much to keep up with. But I think like the bones of the team, the models of the team, the kind of general theme and their mechanic, the frenzy mechanic, I like it all. They're an A for me.
What do you think about Legionary?
Legionary's an S. Yeah, that's an S. I think they're so flexible. Obviously, like every single unit, you have 4 different ways that you could approach playing that unit. It's easy to be overwhelmed by the amount of tactical ploys and strategic ploys and everything they have with the different marks, but it's a team that really rewards trying new things, and I like that. Like, it's easy to just play every game as Nurgle, and I fall into that, obviously, because it's so good. But if you kind of dig around in the weirder corners of Legionary, it's fun. I think there's
some weird stuff.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff, and they're a great team. I really like them.
Yeah, a little mold in the cracks.
Just get in there.
Yeah. Right. Blooded?
Yeah.
Blooded is very fun. They're either A or S for me.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk through it. They're a horde team, so games are longer.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
I think the biggest thing they have going for them is they're locked to seek and destroy, and they're just about killing you.
Yeah.
How's their team mechanic?
Blooded tokens. Their team mechanic? Oh, blooded tokens. Forgettable.
It's a bit annoying with the bookkeeping.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I think they have some cool ploys. I think they have some really thematic operatives. You know, love the Flenser, love the Grenadier on this team, whatever he's called. I don't know if he's a Grenadier or some other
like stupid chaos name. Grenade monger.
I think they're A++, but they're not quite S.
They're not quite
But they're
S.
close.
Yeah.
They're real close. They're really close.
Yeah. And I think that similar to, I can't remember, some of the other ones we talked about, they were like the right team for Kill Team at the time. You know, like I feel like they really evolved the meta and evolved the game when they came out. Okay, let's do Blades of Kane.
Okay.
So I really, really wanted to love this team. I am an Eldar enjoyer. Yeah. And this is like, oh, finally we've got like just a straight up Eldar kill team. And it was a real letdown. I think the design of the team sucks. Like when you buy the team, you get a third of the team. That's crazy to me. Especially being like the launch box for a new season. It's got the old ass Dire Avengers with the like asymmetrical faces.
I don't mind using the old models, but being forced to mix new and old models on the same team, that's a no from me, dog. I gotta say.
Yeah, and it seems like it was a great opportunity for them to put out the new Dire Avengers that we all know are going to happen at some point with the Eldar Range refresh, and be like, here's a sprue of Striking Scorpions, and here's a sprue of Dire Avengers. That would have been so cool.
Yeah.
You know, from a gameplay perspective, they're okay, but they're I feel like they take a while to learn, and
they seem bland to me. Like, I haven't played them, but they just seem kind of boring.
Totally. They're a bit boring, and it's a bit like, you know, oh, this guy's gonna do this one trick that we all know is happening. It's kind of like Torrent, but it's not really. And like, you know, like the Striking Scorpions, again, they're cool, but it's like a kill team really being a 40k release in disguise, you know? And
Scouts as well, but like less.
But Scouts at least is a team of specialists.
Mostly.
But like a team that has specialists.
Yeah.
This isn't.
You have your leader.
Yeah, the leader's the only one.
I guess the thing is, like, they're kind of all specialists because of how their
That's
mechanic
like aspect
works.
warrior thing, yeah.
But I've never played them, but they just do seem boring.
Yeah, like I said, I was so excited for an Eldar kill team, like a Craft World Eldar kill team. Really wanted to love them, and maybe it's my disappointment that's tainting this even farther, but they're a D for me.
Okay, that's fair. We got 2 teams left, I think.
No way, that's it?
Breachers and Mandrakes.
Okay.
And they're both for you.
They're both me.
Do Mandrakes first.
I'll do Mandrakes first. Okay. This is kind of a difficult one because I enjoy the team in concept, but while I was playing them, it was a bit joyless in a way that's kind of difficult to describe, but it felt like, I don't know, it felt like they weren't as fun as they should have been for some reason. Like, and it's kind of hard to describe. Something about them doesn't resonate with me. Does that make sense? Like, it's weird.
Yeah.
But they just don't spark joy as like I thought they would or could. But they're certainly not a bad team. They're certainly not like a, I think, particularly frustrating team. I mean, I haven't played against them, but like they're fun to build. They're fun to paint. And like maybe in time they could be a more fun team to play. I think I'm going to speculatively put them in A because I really feel like they should.
It sounded like you were going lower.
Well, it's interesting because it's like I feel like they should. If it was just like my feelings, then they'd be a C. But I feel like they deserve to be higher. I think they're a well-built team, and I think like a lot of people will really enjoy them. But for some reason, they didn't just like click with my brain the way I like to play. But I can't hold that against them.
Just put them in B then.
All right, I'll put them in
middle ground.
Yeah, right.
All right. I'm pretty sure this is the final team.
Breachers are an interesting team. I like the Breachers. I like all the different ways you can play them. In terms of like straight up humans with guns team, I think they're my favorite one. I'm going to put them in A. It's a bit anticlimactic,
Yeah.
but I think they're a really solid team and brought like a fun new flavor to Kill Team.
Having never played them, I probably would have put them in B.
Right.
They just seem a bit bland and boring. But you've played them, I haven't.
Yeah.
So.
You know, the robots,
Yeah.
the Grenadier. There's some fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's it.
Do we want to? Is there anything we want to change?
Okay.
How do we feel about S tier?
I'm surprised that you didn't put Scouts in S tier.
They were. That's what I was saying. They were high A
Yeah.
tier. I don't like their tac op options.
And that's a big.
They don't have Seek and Destroy, even
Yeah.
though I illegally played them as having Seek and Destroy recently on the channel.
Yeah.
They don't have Seek and Destroy. Probably most of the time you're taking Recon. And their faction tac ops are like fine, but it's just like it's hard for them to score secondaries, and it feels like when you are scoring secondaries, you're not playing the game.
Right. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
That's like my main issue with them, fun wise. If they had Seek and Destroy and like at least one banging faction tac op,
Yeah.
then they'd be S. But they just don't.
Yeah.
They just don't have it.
They just, yeah.
Higher tech makes me sad that I put them that low, but I think that's where they ought to be.
It's interesting that we both have teams that we like really, really wanted to like more. Like Blades of Kane, the Kroot, whatever
Yeah.
they're called, Farstalker? Yeah.
Farstalker Kinban.
Farstalker Kinban, not
Yeah.
Hern Kin,
No.
whatever. There's only like 9 words that they use to title these teams. It's ridiculous. I kind of surprised myself with the Legionary pick, but I stand by it. I think they're like
Yeah.
just such a blast to play.
Yeah, I feel good about this list.
Definitive.
Yeah, it's correct. And like and sub. And thank you to our patrons.
Thank you so much to the patrons who have allowed us to play all of these kill teams.
Yeah, our 1 HP gangsters and mountain goats have been killing it lately.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been feeling a real surge in support, and that means so much to us in this like kind of lull between seasons. It's really nice to
Yeah.
know that people are still into it, and we are very excited for what's to come.
I think that's it.
That's it.
The definitive.
2021.
Yeah.
No one else needs to make a tier list.